and attendance. Okay. If not, we're going to move on to today's program. Nate, would you like to announce your program?
Yeah, I think so.
Today we're going to be, as you can see, we don't have it up there right now, but we will here pretty soon, the RPL Center update. So Masana asked a few weeks ago if we would be able to give an update on the Ice Rink. And so I have Phil Zamora take care of that here in a little bit, but I wanted to introduce Phil. He is our Ice Rink Superintendent. And just to give a little bit of background, I know he's going to talk a little bit about his background, but to kind of give a good story on the backside, and I know Tim will appreciate this because I'm going to talk about one of the other city employees, Ryan Zwijak, in this one. But Phil has lived here in the community for a few years, and when he heard about the Ice Rink kind of coming to fruition in 2019, he actually reached out to Mayor Patton at the time and said, you know, I'd like to volunteer and be a part of this, any focus groups that you may have. Based on my experience, I think I could be helpful. And so he's been there since we started meeting in February of 2020 with these various volunteer groups and just trying to figure out what the design really needed to look like. And he's been there from the get-go and interacted with many other community volunteers on those focus groups, a lot of city staff, and he created a lot of good relationships and made a lot of good impressions. And so as we posted this job this past fall for the Ice Rink Superintendent, you know, one of the other staff that works at the city, our city engineer that you guys probably heard from time to time, Ryan Zwijak, very well respected and very, very proficient, very knowledgeable, but also will tell you what he thinks, very straightforward. He said, Nate, if you don't hire Phil, you're a, you know, you can fill in the blank. So it was very obvious, though, not just to Ryan, but to everyone that got to interact with Phil, really just how professional he was, how personable he was, how easy to talk to. You could, everyone could see how when you turn the keys over to Phil, that this place is going to be run professionally. He has a lot of experience that you'll get to see in the PowerPoint here. But you know, Ryan has high standards. You think I have high standards? Ryan has high standards, and he impressed Ryan Zwijak. That meant a lot. And even Kevin had, as soon as he saw, our city administrator saw his application and his resume and credentials, he was like, this is the guy. So I like to set that bar up high. Sometimes I embarrass him with that kind of stuff, but we are very fortunate to have Phil here, and I'll let him kind of dive into a little bit more of the details and the update on where we stand on the construction and the usage of the RPL Center. Phil Zamora.
Thank you, Nate. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Nate, and thank you, everyone, for having me here today. As Nate said, I'm here to talk about the RPL Center, talk about some of the updates that we're having in the construction, some of the programming that we plan to offer, and some of the memberships that we intend to offer as well. A little bit about the RPL Center. Don't know much about it. It's a 65,000 square foot facility that will house an NHL ice rink, 175 meter elevated track, indoor track. We will have a 3,000 square foot fitness area, and we will have a roughly 4,400 square foot teen center. Before I tell you more about that, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Phil Zamora, and I was born and raised in Southern California. I moved out here in 2018 to be closer to my wife's family. I attended California State Long Beach, and I have my degree in business administration. My wife, Carissa, my son, Patrick, my daughter, Sophie, and my son, Zach, we live in Glen Carbon at Savannah Crossing subdivision. I have 21 years with the Anaheim Ducks organization, the NHL team. I started off working, selling souvenirs, selling pucks and jerseys during home games. At the time, the organization, the team did not have an official practice facility, so they were at a local rink. At the time, they were owned by Disney. Disney constructed a facility as their official practice facility, and I transitioned over there once the season was over. Again, I was in college. I started off just skate guarding, scorekeeping games. That eventually evolved to driving the Zamboni at the facility. And that eventually led to driving the Zamboni at the Anaheim Ducks home games. So I know a little bit about taking care of ice in facilities. And like I said, I moved to Illinois to be closer to my wife's family and the weather. Sometimes I miss winter. Today I miss some of my career highlights before I left to come here. I was a GM for what the Ducks did, just to give you a little bit of background on that, is they would, once the ownership changed, they had a heavy focus on growing the sport of hockey and figure skating, any ice-related sport. So there were a lot of rinks that were privately owned in the area. And what they did is if the rinks were in trouble, financial trouble, or were thinking about shutting down, they acquired them, put in our management team, and then just grew the rink from there. I was part of our largest facility. It was a 3-sheet facility. It was in Lakewood, California. We ran, as you can imagine, just a ton of programming. We had 65 adult teams. We probably had about 4,000 participants within our programs. I was a consultant for Great Park Ice, which is now the official training facility for the Anaheim Ducks in Irvine, California. That's a 4-sheet facility. That was something that was really amazing because it was my first opportunity to go from a ground up situation and really put my thought and my experiences into the design of a building. In 2007, when the Anaheim Ducks won the Stanley Cup, I was fortunate enough to work every game, driving the machine and taking care of the ice for that playoff series. Truly a highlight of my career. After that, I managed Lakewood Ice, and it became the unofficial official training facility for Olympians Nathan Chen, Adam Rickon, Mariah Bell, and Ashley Wagner. And I bring that up just because whenever anyone really thinks about break, they usually focus on hockey and what programs can be had there. But figure skating is a really big sport that maybe doesn't get the recognition that it deserves in the mainstream. When I moved out here, my first position was with Webster Groves. Webster Groves on the Missouri side. I took a position there with overseeing their ice facility and their aquatic center. I didn't have much to do with the aquatic center, but that was part of my job description. I also increased their learn to skate participants, and we just helped streamline some general operations. So everything I basically learned at the Anaheim Ducks organization, I brought over to take Webster Groves, and I hope to facilitate that as well here. And then obviously another highlight. Facility superintendent for this. Facility superintendent for this.
Edwardsville and the RP.
City of Edwardsville and the RP. So a little bit about what I'm going to discuss, just some facility updates. I'm going to talk about some of the main functions of the rink, some of the equipment that we're using, some of the facility highlights that we're going to offer, and some of the programming and staffing. So with the facility updates, we'll dive a little bit into the refrigeration system, which to me is very interesting and something I have a deep passion for, is how that all works, how the ice rink is actually an ice rink, some of the equipment that we need to make the facility operate, and the facility highlights that we have to track the community rooms, the fitness area, the programming that we have to offer. I'll dive into that, and the staffing that we intend to have. So the refrigeration for an ice rink, Just to give you a little bit of protection or a little bit of a background on that. So an ice rink is built in several layers. We actually have a heating element on the very bottom level of the install. It's called subfloor heating, and what that does, it just basically keeps the refrigeration pipes from freezing the ground below. So refrigeration pipes don't know where to pull heat from, so they're just pulling from the surface of the ice and not from the ground. They don't pull any heat. If that starts to happen, if that system fails, then what happens is we start to get a heating process. We'll get permafrost underneath there, and that is detrimental for a rink. The problem with that is a lot of times, sometimes you don't know that's happening until 10 years after the system's failed, just because it takes a long time for that permafrost to build. And then eventually what happens is you start seeing your boards start to bow, and then your ice is unlevel. So this next picture here is what's underneath the ice. It's about 5 miles of piping. Those are the refrigeration pipes that were weighted. This is the RPL center here. They're not tied together yet. That will be the next step. There's another picture here. Oh, this is actually the pouring of the concrete on the refrigeration pipes. There's a video here, but I don't think it's going to play. Was it? No, that's okay. It was actually a really amazing process. There's a little machine that just pumped out. The hose was connected to some concrete mixers outside. The hose ran the length of the building. It was just a little remote control, almost like a remote control car that one of the workers was using to just go back and forth around the rink and pour. This is the first time I've actually ever seen this process. It's really incredible. Refrigeration pipes there, like I said, it's super important that they are all connected together. There are no leaks. Interesting small town story about this is that the person responsible for making sure those pipes were sealed correctly is my wife's best friend's husband. So if we have any issues, I know exactly who to go to. I told him he thought I was joking. Here's some key equipment that the facility will have in order to operate here. Of course, the main one will be our Zamboni ice resurfacer and edger. The Zamboni, a lot of people refer to a Zamboni as that's a machine, but it's actually an ice resurfacer. Zamboni is just a brand. There's also an Olympian model as well. We'll have a skate sharpener. That's one of the services that we'll have. We have 300 pairs of skates on order. We'll have skate aids. I'll show you what that is. Obviously, we have our fitness equipment to service the fitness area, the track flooring, and our team room. We'll dive into as well. Ice resurfacer here. This is exactly what our machine will look like in terms of the design. We do have some sponsors for that as well. But this is an electric Zamboni, which is top of the line. We wanted to make sure that we got an electric Zamboni so that we don't have any issues with propane fumes, especially with having a backup on the upper level. Fumes will have a tendency to rise and cause. I mean, they're filtered pretty well, but if they're not, then we could have some issues. So electric Zamboni was a no-brainer with that one. It has a lithium battery. Newer on the more professional teams are moving to go green and using electric machines. This is a rendering of what it's going to look like here. Sponsored by Edwardsville Bank and CPA Law Firm. Our machine is currently being built and will be sent out to be wrapped with this design and then delivered mid-March is what we're hoping for. This is an edger. Just to give you a little, this basically, the machine, the Zamboni does not reach when it's driving along the board. It does not reach it does not reach all the way against the board, so we need that edger. It's kind of like a trimmer for a lawn. The mower doesn't get the grass along the fence, the edge of wood. So that is, and we'll have a skate sharpener, like I said, just we'll have hockey skates and figure skates. We'll have sizes 8 to 14, from little tiny to big men with 14 size shoes. One of the tasks that we'll have is once we get those skates and that sharpener in, we're gonna have to sharpen every single pair. They do not come sharpened. Nate, this is something I was going to present to you, but we're looking at about 35 hours to sharpen all of those skates. Yeah. So you'll know where to find me once those come in. But yeah. And then, like I said, skate sharpening will be offered. We'll have skate aids for all parents out there. This is going to save your back when you bring your kids to skate. These will be available for rent. These are called Bobby the Seal skate aids. Kids can sit on them or push them. Parents really love them. It keeps them from having to bend over and hurt their back and picking up kids off the ice. Nice feature. We will have a fitness center, the Anderson Hospital Fitness Center. We will have 20 pieces of equipment, a combination of cardio and strength equipment. We'll have some free weights, some barbells, dumbbells, squat rack, wall balls, kettlebell. We'll have a little bit of everything for everybody. This is a rendering, obviously not complete yet. This is what the initial drawings would look like. Nice big windows. Big windows out here to see the track. And this is the layout. One of the changes that was made was we will have a artificial turf along the window wall there. And that's to cater to more body weight exercises, the lunges, the plyo boxes, and things like that. This is a rendering of the track, the inside of the track. Very wide track, 18 feet wide, 4 lanes. And that will be installed at the end of this month, in a few days, next week actually, we'll start installing the floor. Then we have our teen center. The teen center is a space on the building that will provide a safe place for the teens of the area to meet and gather and just kind of hang out. And that is brought to you by the Junior Service Club. They are picking up the tab for all of the furniture, televisions, the patio furniture as well. They were going, here's a rendering here. They were looking for more of a coffee shop type feel to it. These glass openings over here you see on the left will be garage doors that lead to a patio. The patio will have a couple of fire pits, some chairs, some furniture, talking about possibly having some games. We had the idea of a ping pong table that we brought there, but it was a 3,000 pound ping pong table, and concrete would not support it. So that was checked off the list. It's not happening. So a nice little space for the teens to come and hang out. What will
Our offer? We're going to offer a little bit of everything. We're going to offer public sessions, learn to speak classes, freestyle sessions, stick and puck sessions. And if you don't know what these are, I'll dive into it a little bit. Adult leagues and pickup games. One thing I forgot to add with the youth hockey programs. In mind, that's a given. Broom ball and some special events. So public sessions, these are sessions where you can just come out, bring your family, skate for a couple of hours in a circle. This is usually the entry point for all skaters. Wherever they start their career, you always attend a public session. That's where the main interest in any sport, either figure skating or hockey, is gained. So this will be a key component in our membership, which we'll discuss later. This is where we can host parties, birthday parties for the public. It allows our instructors to conduct private lessons. It's usually the first step, like I mentioned, to either learn to skate or learn to play.
And we'll be able to provide some after-school programming. We have built in, I believe, 20 hours of ice for public session every week. So that should be plenty of ice for all of this in the community to come out and skate. Our Learn to Skate program is a feeder to all of our programs. We will offer Learn to Skate 2 nights a week. We will follow the Learn to Skate USA curriculum. This is a recognized curriculum that is used in most facilities. We are recruiting instructors as we speak. We do have 3 instructors that are actually from Edwardsville that have expressed interest in joining the staff. We will offer classes for all ages and all abilities. We'll have freestyle sessions. Freestyle sessions are dedicated to figure skaters. You see this figure skater here. You can't really do that on a public session. You risk hitting someone in the head with a skate, or doing something like that when you're doing a jump. These sessions are dedicated, and there's an etiquette to these skaters. They can spin and jump and go in any direction. So we will offer those sessions as part of our programming. Stick and puck sessions. These are really great. These are events that I'm new to. They're very popular here in the Midwest, but it's just a stick and puck session. You just go out there and you skate around with the puck. Some guys go out there with shorts and tank tops and a helmet and play with your kids. It's just a really fun kind of a pond hockey type of event. So we will host those as well. We'll have adult hockey programming. Not all hockey players look like that. So we will have, we've had a couple of adult programs that have expressed interest in growing their organization at the center. We'll offer adult learn to play programs. We'll have some pond hockey leagues, just basic generic leagues, some pickup games for those players that don't really have the time to commit to a league but still want to play. And our leagues will be USA Hockey Sanctioned, which means that that's the governing body that sets the guidelines for our rules of the game in terms of time, periods, and things like that. USA Hockey is also a supplemental insurance, which on a personal note, they have provided. I broke my jaw a few years ago, and they actually paid for it was during a hockey game. So they paid for the medical expenses. So we will require all of our participants that take part in our hockey program to be USA Hockey members. Our youth hockey program, obviously we will have the high school teams, Edwardsville High School team, be a part of the facility. They have leased out some exclusive locker room space from us. They will host their practices. Some other teams that have been in contact with us, in Triad, Collinsville, Baldo. So all of those teams have interest in practicing at the facility. The Travel Club, Twin Bridges, has expressed interest. In fact, they gave me a wish list this morning. So we'll see what we have available for them to offer. The St. Louis Cyclones, which is a girls team, they have expressed interest, and it was a big surprise last week. They are looking for up to 20 hours a week, which we don't have, but we'll accommodate what we can. But they would like to move and have a home at an Illinois rink, which means that they can participate in Illinois leagues. Being from the St. Louis side, even though they're just across the river, they currently cannot participate in Illinois leagues because they're a St. Louis team. So hopefully we will be hosting some high school games, the MVCHA and Mid-States. And then of course we'll have some in-house programming. Broomball. We will offer that. Probably won't have a league, but it'll be something that businesses, sororities, fraternities, church groups have been usually attracts them, and it's just like hockey on feet. You can see here, you got a stick with a little broom type look and a ball. It's just hockey on feet. We usually play across ice. That's going to be a cool event, maybe even implemented as a PE program or a physical education program for the high school. Our memberships, we will have 6 different membership options. We'll have a family membership, a single individual membership, a youth membership, SIE, a senior couple, and a senior individual. The criteria for resident versus non-resident will be District 7 school district. So if you're in District 7, you're considered a resident. If you're non-District 7, you will be a non-resident. That was a decision that Nate and I came to incorporate all of the surrounding villages and towns that contributed to the construction of this facility.
Monthly fees?
Yes, they will be monthly fees. The memberships include public sessions, so you can come to any public session that we have to offer. It will include access to the fitness center and the track. It will give you early registration for any of our programming and discounted registration. These are our walk-in fees for Freestyle Sessions. If you're a member versus a non-member, birthday parties, we anticipate to be a big program for us. If you're a member, you will get 15% off of that base price, and the base price will vary due to the per person package options. Our large escape, any room rentals, any walk-in type events other than public sessions. Our public session fees. If you're not a member and you're just coming in to skate, $8 for the admission. Skate rentals $3. If you want one of our skate aids or seals, $7 for the session. Ages 3 and under are free. Our staffing, being myself, we just put out a job description for a head ice tech that we're looking to hire and bring on board mid-March. I will oversee all the operations of the building, the budget, the facility maintenance, the training, the hiring, the programming, the head ice tech. We'll have a heavy focus on the maintaining the ice surface itself, taking depth readings, the overall quality, making sure that the water is in good shape that's going on the ice. We'll change the blades on the Zamboni, change the oil, check tires, things like that. We'll have our frontline supervisors. They will oversee the day-to-day, make sure that the frontline employees are doing their assigned duties. They will also be able to drive the Zamboni. And then we'll have our operations associates, our skate guards, our concessionaires, our cashiers, party hosts, scorekeepers, and just, I like to say that everyone is a housekeeper. Some general housekeeping as well. And then we'll have our instructors, our skating instructors, and our hockey instructors. Those job descriptions will be posted soon. So if you know anyone who would be interested, please let them know. But our skating and hockey instructors will help us with our in-house programming, our learn to skate. Instructors usually make their income teaching private lessons. So as a facility, we want to make sure that we provide ice for them to do that. And in turn, they help us with our programming. In the future, we are hoping that we can get a second rink in there. If we do, it would be laid out. So here's the current facility here. The second rink would be right here. There's talk of possibly having an outdoor rink, seasonal rink out there. We are ready for that design-wise. We would also like to expand and move the Parks and Rec Department to the center. It would provide a central location for the community to register for programs and things like that. It was in the initial drawings, but due to budget cutbacks, we had to nix that. And then, we're hoping that this will be a driving force to add additional community facilities, like a pool or a basketball courts. I know some of my colleagues at the Parks and Rec Department really would like a basketball court. So just things like that. We could see how well we run and manage these programs. We could expand. Any questions? Yes.
Well, first of all, welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great team. Secondly, I'm just curious where you found that picture of
I found who? Is it this one?
Oh, there you go.
That's okay.
Just a quick Google search. Yes.
So you got all these programs. I used to buddies play hockey.
Yeah.
You play hockey. 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. in the morning, man. It's awesome. How are you going to get all this in here? Or are you staying open like 24/7? Or
That's a great question. So typically a rink is open from 6 a.m. to about midnight. As far as what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have enough ice. So it's like a big puzzle almost. I'm getting all of the pieces and then I'll put them together. The way that we're working it is that we are designing our program first, our internal programming, and then we will build around that. So it would be very easy to just say, okay, all of our ice is available. I'm sure Twin Bridges Hockey Club would buy the majority of it, right? So, but that's not good for the facility. It's not good for the community. We need to have a little bit of everything. I'm a big believer in that every program supports every program. So you really have to have a diverse programming in the facility. Yes.
This is probably for Dave and you talk what's the current estimate when it becomes self-sufficient, the revenue covers expected to become self-sufficient, and what's the current estimate?
Honestly, that probably is more of a full question, but I could see it within a year easily being self-sufficient, if not the first.
Yes, perfect, right?
Yeah. Yes. We are set to open in mid-May. We are looking to have ice installed the first week of April. Crossing our fingers on that. There's a lot of moving parts to that. But April 1st, ice gives us about 3 to 4 weeks to try and or to train our staff and make sure that everything's working properly. And then from there, mid or the end of May. That's what we're hoping for.
You have a skating or hockey background yourself?
I do, yeah. I started skating when I was 11 years old. And like a lot of people in Southern California, when Wayne Gretzky was traded to the Kings, it kind of sparked the interest in hockey in Southern California. That's when it kind of blew up. And the Disney kind of all and the Ducks movie, and that eventually created the NHL team, the Ducks. Any other questions?
I think Nate was going to give an update on the donation.
Oh, yes. Thank you, everyone.
I got so excited about introducing Phil that I just kind of skipped over a meeting that Phil and I got to have with Harry and Carol here recently. They just got back from a cruise, and Phil and I have been trying to make a concerted effort to give all the donors an opportunity to have a tour of the facility. And I would right here just take this opportunity. If you guys would like a tour of the facility, just reach out to Phil or I at the office. We'd be happy to do that, whether it's one of you or 5 or 6 of you, that'd be fine. If you have some staff that want to come through, no strings attached, just want to check it out, just let us know. We're happy to give you a tour. So we gave them a tour on Sunday, and one of the things that we wanted to make sure was that they felt they were getting a good value, and the Rotary Club was getting a good value for their donation. So we let them know about some other areas of sponsorship that were available. And as time had gone on, we had, here, this is what we're going to get for this space, but then we lowered that expectation. And we wanted to let them know before somebody else maybe came and took it, all these spaces that were available for the same level of donation, not asking for any more funds because they were already very generous in their donation. And I thought the Rotary Club I was very appreciative of the members here to agree to that donation. So we talked about a couple different spaces, and one of those was some locker rooms, multiple locker rooms for them to sponsor, or the visitor bench. And so the visitor bench was what really jumped out to them because, and I kind of saw this coming, it wasn't about that their name would be more prominent, but that the Edwardsville Rotary Club would be more visible on the first level where all the skaters were going to be. And so that'll be on the back glass of where the visitor bench will be. And so anyone who's on the ice skating can see not only Carol's name, but also that the Edwardsville Rotary Club was a part of that donation, and that the wheel will be there, that gear will be up there. And so I just wanted to let you guys know, as we were walking around, that was something I presented to them. I said, look, ultimately, this is your decision. I talked to Brent when we were handing out citrus a month or so ago, and just emailed him and Mark, and just said, we're very appreciative of the donation, but I also thought that ultimately, I just wanted to make sure they had all the information available to them. So that was a change. And it's going to be much more visible as opposed to that second floor small fitness area that was kind of tucked away a little bit back in the background. And so I just want to let you guys know that, so you heard it from us. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask me. But ultimately, I said, it's your call. We're appreciative no matter where the naming rights donation goes. But that's kind of what they decided to move on to. So I just want to keep you in the loop on that. So thanks, guys.
Great, thank you. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. And Phil, on